Hello and welcome to a new mammal drawing system with John Muir Laws. We are so glad you're joining us today. My name is Beth Kelly Galogly, and I'm the founding director of the Wild Wonder Foundation, which is hosting this class today. The Wild Wonder Foundation is dedicated to encouraging nature connection and conservation through attention, curiosity, art, science, and community. Community like this class and like you. Thanks for being part of that community. You can learn more about our work at wildwonder.org. We are super grateful to John Muir Laws, a.k.a. Jack, for donating his time to teach this class today. Jack is a principal leader and innovator of the worldwide nature journaling movement and the co-founder of the Wild Wonder Foundation. An award-winning naturalist, artist, scientist, and educator, Jack has dedicated 4 decades of his life to connecting people to nature through art and science. He is the author of several books, including The Laws Guide to Nature Drawing and Journaling, and the Laws Blank Sketchbook. Good morning, Jack. Hello, nice to see you. This class is a fundraiser for the Amani Foundation, which helps children in Tanzania thrive in school and at home by supporting family-based care, education, and community wellness. Amani believes in restorative programs, including nature journaling, that nurture curiosity, connection, and hope. Your donation to class today supports these initiatives, so thank you so much. A few notes before we begin. I want to give a special shout out, high five, and a big thank you to Avea Moore, who is helping backstage. Thank you, Avea. Because this is a webinar, your camera and mic are disabled. This is a 90-minute class. Actually, that's not true. This is a 2-hour class. Buckle up, folks. We're going to have a break halfway between, stretching break. But we're going to try to keep Jack to 2 hours. I think he could probably talk for 5-6 hours, but we have committed to 2 hours. Please use the Q&A feature to ask questions during the presentation, and we'll get to as many of those as we can during the class. Also, we want to see your class notes and drawings. Jack might even give us homework on socials using Wild Wonder Foundation and tag us at Wild Wonder Foundation. Also, briefly joining us this morning at the top of class, and Avea will bring her on now, is Kate Thompson, founder and director of the Amani Foundation. We're so glad you can join us today, Kate. She's going to share a bit about the work that your donation helps make possible. I will now hand it over to you and Kate.
Thank you so much, Beth. And Kate, thank you for joining us at the start of this class. The folks, Kate is both a friend and somebody who deeply inspires me. And the work that she is doing, once I kind of understood the scope and the breadth of it, I have been all in with this for years. And I'm delighted to that we're doing a little fundraiser in support of the important work you're doing. I'm going to hand the mic over to you. It's great to see you.
Thank you so much, Jack. I'm honored to be here and honored to speak to all of you today. My name is Dr. Kate Thompson. I work in northern Tanzania, where about 80 to 90% of children who are in orphanages are actually not orphans. Many of the kids that we work with have loving families that turn to orphanages as a way to get them access to school, social care, or another meal that they can count on. So when you donate to us, you are literally changing lives by helping children return home to relatives, reuniting families, and keeping them together so that children who have relatives never end up in an orphanage in the first place. And you might be wondering, how does nature journaling come into this? Since 2022 now, Jack and I have worked together to bring nature journaling education, kits, and experiences into the hands of children who have survived orphanages in northern Tanzania. So many of our kids now turn to journaling and using art to describe the world around them and the nature around them as a way to process their emotions, build confidence again, and get curious about science and nature. So this is truly a part of their lives that would not have happened without Wild Wonder Foundation, Jack, and all of you here today. And I'm just thrilled I found out that we're going to be continuing this program into 2026, and that's because of you all. So thank you for changing the lives of children in northern Tanzania yesterday, today, and tomorrow. You make it possible.
Thank you so much, Kate. Yeah, I know I look forward to meeting up with you folks both online and the next time I am in country to get up to some more shenanigans together. I'm so inspired by what you're doing, and thank you for devoting your life to this. It inspires me to see that the actions we take, it makes a difference in this world, and we all can be a force for good. So
It
we'll
truly
do more
does.
of
Thank
this.
you.
Thank you. So let's get down to drawing some mammals, and I'm going to be focusing on drawing mammals in Africa today. And the reason for that is that I want this video to the diversity of the biodiversity of mammals there gives us lots of cool examples of things which we can mess around with. Many of them have short fur, which means we can see the underlying anatomy. If we're drawing muskox all day, you draw a big kind of shag carpet, but might not understand the underlying structure. And I also want this video to be useful to my friends in Tanzania for drawing the stuff that is around where you live. So it's going to be useful for everybody, but I'm hoping especially for my friends at Amani. So let's get started here. I am there. Look, here we are. Oh, we're kind of a little bit off the side there. Let's actually do that. All right. So hi there, everybody. We're going to be drawing mammals today. I want to give a big shout out to Vivek Kenzode, who is the person behind seeingbirds.com. Even though it says birds, all the mammals pictures that you're going to be seeing today are from his website. And as part of your homework, I'm going to suggest that everybody go to this website and use some of the photographs there to practice this. What I'm going to be doing today is taking a look at a way of simplifying in our heads um, the way we draw mammals. And what we're going to do is we're going to start with a gesture warm up. So here is a lovely zebra. Oh, I love this little guy. Boop. And we're going to just start with some gesture sketches. I want to just give you an example of kind of what gesture sketching looks like. In case this is a new term for you, I'm going to show you what we're going to be doing. And all right, I've got a piece of paper. I'm looking out at a zebra, and you'll have the zebra in front of you in just a moment. And what this is this is going to be, I don't want you doing this. I don't want you going, I've got a little ear of a zebra over here, and I've got a little eyeball down here, and this sort of thing. What gesture sketching is looking like is your hands going to go like, whoa, you're feeling the zebra, you are being the zebra, you're kind of, you're getting your sort of lots of lines getting the energy of this thing that like what is this look like, and then it's not going to, it is not going to be a portrait. We want our eyes just going back and forth through this thing, sort of feeling like the mass of you. Sometimes people will do this, kind of show you kind of the scribbly drawing. Sometimes in places where there's kind of like the chunk of the body, people will just like there's your body, rah, like, well, you got my little neck coming up, right? Then over the head, come down, ears, right? And so you're sort of feeling the mass, the life of this thing, and you're drawing fast, 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 fast. We're going to make a bunch of overlapping pictures on the same page. Maybe it's the backside of a zebra. Oh, he's a little zebra tail, like what do that, and it's kind of looking out this way. Oh, hello, little zebra. Okay, right. And so you see what I'm doing? That's the energy which we want for these zebra for these little gesture sketches. All right, let's go back to our friend the zebra. Hello, hi. And ready, go. All right, I'm going to be doing it too. I'm going to suggest that you make little grunting sound effect as you go. Ready? Yeah. All right. If you don't like where that line is, just make another one over it. Draw through the animal, draw into the animal. Let's go to a different critter. Oh, look at you, little Ingiri. Ingiri, hello. Hello, little buddy. All right. So this time, just as an experiment, get your pencil moving faster. See, what is that like? What is it like to have your pencil moving faster? More of that, like, right? Get your, right? You're not, just try to, as an experiment, see what it's like. We're not making a careful portrait. We're trying to just kind of get our, uh, wait, hold on. We're tensing up. We're tensing up. Wait, hold on. I got to interrupt you for just a moment. All right. I feel that kind of your shoulders coming up. No, no, no. All right. Shake them out. Shake them out. All right. What you're going to be doing is just, oh, all right. Okay. Oh, oh, oh. And just now, this time, as we're going back into it, what I want you to do is instead of this, all right, we're going to smile. Just like, do, like, have fun with it. Like, be loose, be loose, be loose. Everybody, loosen up. All right. Back to the pig. Well, oh, there we go. Okay, I'm gonna try a different colored pencil. I'm just gonna do a little drawing on the side. But this time I'm gonna just try to just have more fun with it. Like, come on. Oh yeah. Oh, look at that. Look at your little foot. Look what you do with that foot. Oh no, no, that's crazy. That's crazy. Why do you think that was a good idea? You know what? It is a good idea. Oh, how'd you get that idea? Oh yeah, yeah, yeah. Little snacks. Little snacks. Gotta kneel for those snacks. Oh, that's just tasty, 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 tasty. Oh yeah, yeah, yeah. Oh, okay, okay. Oh my gosh. He ran away. Right. So I'm now just going to do a new thing. Right. New thing. Sort of feel this time. Oh, keep those shoulders relaxed. Those shoulders relaxed. Sort of feel that relaxation. I like to do a bunch of these all overlapping on one page. Ah, breathe. Breathe with the lion. Breathe with our little lion friend here. Relax your shoulders. Relax your jaw, wherever that tension is, we can let it go. Oh, yeah. Oh, look, you stood up. That's what you did? Oh, you stood up. All right. Yeah, yeah. Okay. Now, this line is going to be here for about 30 seconds. So let's just kind of go zoop, 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 zoop. Mm. Just to sort of show you, like, I'm not creating. I'm kind of just sort of making all these little scribbles together. I've got lines overlapping warthogs, and it's loose, right? And so we just want to be loose. We want to be fast. We want to be that fast. Oh my gosh! All right, this time, what I want, don't start drawing yet. I want you just take your pencil, hold it up in front of you, and air draw on this line in front of you. Feel that swoop of that body. Feel that energy. Feel that curve of the back, that little swoop there. All right. Feel that. Just sort of close one eye and imagine you're drawing on your screen with your pencil. Now, let's just turn that and put it down on our piece of paper. That same energy. Get that, like, draw that little swoop. And want to have my drawing have a swoop. Wow. Again, this is from seeingbirds.com, Vivek's beautiful website of nature photography. Oh, new drawing, new drawing. Why? Why so fast? I broke my pencil.
Jack, quick question.
Yeah.
The photos are from whom?
Vivek Kanzote.
Okay. His website, I believe, is birdpixel.com. Is that right?
Oh, I've been saying seabirds.com. Oh my gosh. I get myself confused. You're absolutely right. Thank you for checking me on that. Yes, this is birdpixel.com.
Great.
My other friend, Ashok Khosla, has seeingbirds.com, and which is another site that I often go to. And that's really embarrassing. But yes, that's why it takes a village.
No worries. I just wanted to make sure I was sharing the right link. Thank you.
Yeah. Well, and also I should, so yes, bird pixel is where we are. Oh, wow. Just do maybe one or two more of these little gestures just to get ourselves. The idea here is we don't care about this picture. We're using the picture just to get us to look at the line, get our pencil started. If you want to be sketching a day, doing some kind of loose just gestures at the start is a wonderful way of just warming yourself up. You have to, you can't make an omelet without grating some cheese. No, cracking some eggs. So this is a way of just sort of cracking some eggs on your paper. Ah, there we are. All right, so why are you doing that? Hold on. So I am there. Now what I'm going to do is we're going to just kind of get ahead of things. I'm going to start to, on this sort of loose framework of a bunch of sketches of things, I'm going to start to kind of get a little bit more technical about how I might frame in and block in parts of these things. Our loose gesture sketch energy is absolute gold. Um, But what I'm going to do now is think about how I think about some of the anatomical details. When I'm drawing, if I have an idea of some of the underlying structure, it's going to help me be able to block things in. One of the things everybody looks at first in your pictures of critters is its head and face. And if the head kind of looks liony, people go like, dude, lion, right? And so let's kind of let's lock eyes with some mammals here for a moment. What we're going to do is we're going to start um, with the side of the head of this thing. And here's how I basically think of it. I think about the cranium of this thing as a little ball. And then what I do is I'm going to take a little box, a little snoot, and stick that onto the side of the ball. All right. And that is essentially my mental model for blocking in a skull. I've got a ball, and then I'm sticking a little box on the side of that. All right. And different kinds of mammals will have different length snoots, but still you're going to get that basic cranium and the rostrum on everybody. So that ends up being kind of a useful start, kind of a useful thing. Like on some critters, I'll probably have, a longer snoot. And sometimes you'll get a big forehead angle, sometimes it'll be flat across there. But that kind of general intro to the side of the head of the critter, that'll be useful. So on this, to kind of make this a little bit more liony, lions have this sort of big flat face here, and if you give your critter kind of a protruding chin, then that really starts to feel lionesque. A few things that are going to make this look like a predator is predators have, people will say the critters with eyes in the front like to hunt and eyes on the side like to hide. So if you're looking at something that is a predator or a primate, um, when you're looking at it from the side, you are seeing the side of the eye. So you're going to side eye that lion. So if I draw a lion with eyes looking straight at you, if I'm doing that in the side, it's going to look a lot more like a sheep or something. So let's get this side view eyes. I'll show you how to do that. So for a side view eye, there's a big round ball in there, but the front of it you're seeing, then there is lids that are going to cover part of that eye. If the pupil is visible, you're seeing that as kind of a vertical bit right in there. So there's a little side view eye. So I'm going to side eye my lion. And right here where the rostrum is meeting that cranium, that's where my little side eye is going to sit. Are you broken too? Yes. There we are. So here's that little side view eye. And that makes us start to feel more predatory. I have a nose that is going to be coming across the front. And something that also is, in addition to the big chin with those great little lion whiskers, um, lions have this big dark lip. Right? So I get that. We're feeling pretty liony. The eye, the nose, the eye, and the ear are located on the top of the head up here. So up here is where my ear is going to sit. And in this case, I'm seeing part of the inside of the ear and part of the back of the ear. And to draw that fluff in the ear, what I'm going to do is I'm not going to draw the fluff. I'm going to draw the shadow area in the deepest part of there. So I'm going to put some little dark into there where that sort of shadow zone is going. And then leave the rest more as white. So my little buddy gets a big forehead here. I think I've given look at this. This is kind of an interesting, this is a proportion thing. I have given my lion too much of a snoot. So it's looking, not, there's something that feels off about that. So maybe I can fix that by making the back of the head bigger, or maybe I just have to learn it as a lesson for next time. But that's a proportion thing. Like, how big is that ball going to be? Cats have much shorter faces than dogs or the ungulates. So I've given mine too much of a snoot there, but I've got some other features that are working for me. So if I draw something and that doesn't work out, that's going to be okay. Let's just take a look at a different species, right? This is a water buck. A water buck. So this time I have much more of a snoot sticking out there. So what I'm going to do is give myself my ball. I'm going to give myself my snoot. And then I'm going to put some features on that. Now on this one, my eye is on the side, so I see much more of this kind of, they're also going to be still at the top here. So on the top, I'm going to have my eye as more of a round thing. And I'm going to give it a little area for gland coming into, there's often, you'll see this little kind of bare skin for glands in the front of critters' eyes. I have a little nose in front. And it doesn't have that big frown mark. Little bit of a chin. And that forehead is really pretty flat. My ears are attaching back here, but in this case, what the cat ear is basically this little half of a cup that is sticking up. In the case of this little critter, the ear is going to be a cone. You can think of it as a cone that is sticking up. And then the tip of that cone will be kind of cut at an angle. So in this case, that cone is sticking forward. They can stick their ears anywhere. So here's the entrance of that cone. We're seeing a little bit of an ellipse up there. We've got our other little ear sticking up there, little entrance to that cone there. And so starting with that ball and that snoot, I'm good to go. But wait, there's more. Because what if, let's just take a look at one more here. So on this one, let's look at the proportion. So I don't make my lion trick, right? I don't want to give this one, let's see if I can get my proportions better on this impala here. I've got a ball of the head, right? And then it looks like we're coming out with a really steep forehead, and I want to put stick this box onto that. All right. And my eye is going to be pretty high in here. That nose and mouth business is in here. Ear is going to be coming in the back there. Let's just add a few details onto that. For that eye, I'm going to start with a ball because it's an eye on the side and give it a little bit of gland in the front. My nose, and this I'm going to give myself a little slit here. Gave my critter a little bit too big a nose. Okay. We have a little happy mouth here. Yeah, so fun to be an impala until you hear the voice of the nature documentary announcing in an ominous voice that the impala is peacefully grazing. So the horns, not antlers, horns on these are going to stick out here. We're going to start with them really, really simple. We're going to go up. We're going to turn back. We're going to go up again. And then maybe smooth that out a little bit. Here I'm seeing into that ear a little ellipse, and we're attaching it down behind there. All right. This one ended up with proportions that were a little bit better than our friend the lion. All right. But what happens if you want to draw the critter from the front? Well, it's the same thing. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to start with a ball. And this time I'm thinking of, I love to put in a center line to help me kind of figure out what is the axis of the face. So here it's kind of tilted off at a little bit of an angle like that. From that, I get a little box that drops down. And that box um, is going to attach somewhere up in here. This little box sticks down. And on part of that box, I've got the top surface of the snout. And then part of that box is also the front of the face. So if that box has a front slope, sort of a front slope here and angle, I'm seeing this top part here and I'm seeing this angle right here. So I'm thinking of that as a 3D box. This is a leopard. So its nose is much smaller than you get with a lion. And you get this sort of wine glass look where the nose meets the mouth. Going to give it a little bit of a chinny chin chin. On either side of the nose, you've got these big puffy whisker beds. And then we are kind of going into the face there. From the nose, let's bring lines up on either side for the top surface of that nose. And then my eyes, this is my center line. I want my eyes to be parallel. If I have one eye low, one eye high, everybody notices really, really, really fast. And I will too, right? So if I've got my eye over here, eyes in the front likes to hunt. So now I'm drawing circles from the eyes from the front for the predator. And we're going to look at the distance between these eyes. I don't want them to be too wide. I have my other eye in here. Give this little buddy a bit of forehead. And then I'm seeing those ears sticking out on either side. Oh, you got some big old cheeks, don't you? Yes, you do. All right, so on we've got these little kind of cones of ears. If you're looking at the ear from the side, you just see the side here. If it's turned a little bit towards you, you get some of that dark shadow inside there. And this one, we're seeing a little bit of the outside and we're seeing a little bit of the inside of the ear. And I'm going to just darken in the dark parts, leaving those lighter parts lighter. On this far side ear, it's all facing away from me. So I'm not going to do anything about it. You can trick your ears and turn them every which way. But what if you like to hide? Well, or at least look out for predators. So look at the eyes on the side here. Notice that you're not seeing, again, not the big round forward facing eye. We've got these, it's side eyeing you, right? So from the front, my giraffe buddy here is let's mess around with that. So I've got a ball for the face. Let's give it a center line. So I like having kind of a structure that like how can I get started? That's going to really help me get started. And let's put a snoot on that. So I'm going to put a box in here, and part of that box is going to be the front part of the face. Right. Now my eyes on the side, I want those to be out here. Look at how much they stick out to the side. If you look at a giraffe from behind, you can see those eyes. If you look at it from the front, you can see those eyes. How might that help it survive? So the eyes are out on these protrusions on either side here that are going to stick out. And then you've got a little bit of a box of a forehead coming up in there. Let's kind of refine that just a little bit. My nose, I'm going to give myself 2 slits there. I'm going to give it a little bit of a pointed mouth, and maybe I can see a hint of a chin under there. And remember how we had these lines coming up? We see that top surface of that coming up in there. But we've got a pretty wide face here, and then we pop out to those eyes. And so from that eye on the side, I'm seeing that point in the front as if I were looking at a lion from the side. Longest lashes. So there's a little eye on the side. Give it some eyelashes sticking out. So I'd already put this box in that forehead here. It just kind of helps me kind of get a little bit of that forehead. And then ears are sticking out on the side. So if I've got my eyes here, I also want my ears. Let's look at what those ears are coming out a little bit higher. So I'm going to draw a line in there to make sure I get my ears coming out in about the right place. So I'm going to put a little ball in here to get my ears approximately the right size before I'm looking at details. And then look at the shape of the ear right in here. This is what artists call a negative space. It comes over, it comes up, it comes out. This is going to come down, it's going to come over, it's going to come up, it's going to come out. So if I'm looking at the shape of the ear here, it's going to help me carve that ear. And I'm going to do the same thing inside the ear here. I'm just going to draw what are the dark shapes I see. I see a few darks in there. I'm going to draw those darks rather than trying to draw the fluff. My pencil's dark, so I'm going to draw the dark parts rather than if I try to draw all the light hairs, it turns into something that's dark. Oh yeah. But wait, there's more. So look at that. Oh, 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 can you see the ball? Can you see the box? There's a ball in a box. Wow, there's a ball. And then let's give it a center line. That center line really useful for front views. And let's put a box over that. And then let's take part of that box and make it the front part of the snoot. Right, this little surface and part will be the upper surface. Okay, so there's my front part. And now I'm going to sort of a shadowy area in here. I see some sort of nostrils and some shadow kind of coming down there. Little baboon smile and a big old chin. On either side
Oh,
of
Jack,
this.
sorry to interrupt. Could
Oh,
you? Perfect. Thank you.
thank you. That's Avea Moore in the background there. If you haven't met Avea, she's the mad botanist and helps keep me on screen on time and is a wonderful friend. So there's these big dark shadows in there. Feel free to pop that in. That's going to really make that nose feel like it's coming forward. So I'm popping in those little shadows in those areas there. Nice and dark. There's another big dark area in here where the eyes are hiding. Those eyes are pretty close together and forward facing. So I'm just going to give myself a few little circles. And then I'm going to just, where it's dark, I'm going to put in dark. So just a big dark zone up in here. Maybe those eyes are showing through a little bit. And then, let's see, what do we have? We have a fuzzy head. So I'm going to show you a little fur drawing trick here that I learned from looking at the artwork of William D. Barry, or Bill Barry, wonderful Alaskan wildlife artist. I'm going to do it sort of, what I do is if I want something to look fuzzy, I mean, I don't go tick, 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 hair marks all the way around the thing. But what I'm going to do is as I'm kind of, drawing this thing, I'm going to give it just, just a few little places out here. You're going to give yourself a few little ticks. And that often does a really good job of just sort of suggesting that this is fuzzy. And so I like not having those marks everywhere. I'm going to just now get in here and draw hair all over it. And you'll see that like, I think I liked it better before. So it's when you put in a few of these, it kind of goes like, ooh, that feels fuzzy. So then your brain says, yeah, then just do more of that. Make it all like that. Oh, and you break your pencil, and then it's sad. But fortunately, you've got another. Right, right. So if you then do it all the way around, it kind of looks like a clock. So this side is what we call regularly irregular, and that gives you kind of a more sense of the fuzz. But this is actually the angle that you're going to see the critters at most of the time. So if you think of the 360 degrees that something could be looking, side view is only one of those. Straight on is a second. So you now have two of the rest of the 360, 300 and what? 360, yes, it's weird how your brain goes glitch, of the 360 degrees. So most often what's going to be happening is you're going to be seeing these little in-between things. And so getting comfortable with three-quarter views on heads and three-quarter views on bodies, that's what you're going to see most of the time, unless the animal's on Zoom, in which case you're always seeing the front view. So we're going to spend some time with three-quarter view on the head. These same ideas will apply to thinking about how do you draw a three-quarter view on the body, which we'll get to in just a moment. But let's take a look back at the head. All right. So, what did we do before? We did ball and box. What are we going to do now? Yep, that's right, ball and a box. But this time ball, remember that center line?
Sorry, Jack. Could you?
Ah,
Very.
right.
Thank you.
So this center line now is a moon shape across the ball. And the box is going to fit across that. So out of the box, out of the center line of this thing. So let's do that again. This is the key point. I've got my head circle. I have my center line making a moon, and I'm going to stick my box onto the center line. So there's a ball. And a box. That's just starting to look like that. So let's add some features into this. Let's start also, let's do this. Let's think of the center line of this snoot. It's coming out here. The back side, it's slightly rounded. So on something that is slightly rounded, the far side is not going to be as big as the close side, which means my nose is not going to look like this. So I'm not going to draw my nose like I did here with the same on either side. That far side of the nose, if this is the center line, the far side is going to be small. The close side is going to be bigger. Far side small. Then we have our wine glass, far side small. Now the big lion lip. Big old lip mark back here. And then come on. We've got our little whisker pad here and far side. That's right, small. And then we have the chinny chin chin. Let's put some of those William D. Barry, Bill Barry marks into it. Now we're coming back, and let's start with the eye that is closer to us here. So right where this box is inserting here, that's where I'm going to find my eye. So I've got my eye, and it's not full on towards me. And then keeping in that same line over here, this little part right here, if you really want to develop your 3/4 view views, pay attention to what this eye does or doesn't do. Here, I've got a little bit of a thing, kind of just, I see a little bit of dark in here and not much more. But as the heads turn, you're going to see very interesting things happening right in that spot. So if there is a detail that you can pay attention to, a place, why are my 3/4 view heads not working? For me, it is almost always this zone right in here. And so give that spot just sort of a little bit of slow down, a little bit of extra love. Now I have my ears sticking out on this side. I'm going to put a little bit of dark inside there. And keeping parallel over here, my ear is going to start in here. And it's going to come down to below where the eye is. So it's going to come down across the bottom of it. It's going to be all across there. It's going to come up. The height is going to be about the same here. So I don't want one ear low, one ear high, although they can do that if they choose to, because hey, it's a lion. It can do what it wants. Let's put that dark in there. And I'm going to suggest a few of those little Bill Barry marks in the ear there, just to make it feel fuzzy. Maybe I can fuzz this ear just a little bit. So I've got this 3/4 view, the box stuck into the circle on the center line. And if I look at a different critter 3/4 view, I am going to apply the same approach. Let's give it a try. There's a ball. There's my center line. But this time, Whoa, what are we going to do with our box? Lots of box. So I've got a big old bunch of box sticking out there. My eyes are going to be in here. Now, eyes front likes to hunt, the eyes side. So these eyes to be on the side, the distance between the eyes is greater. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to give myself more room between these eyes when I put this eye in here. I like to think of kind of a triangle on the forehead, sort of to kind of give this almost a diamond shape here in the head. Triangle up there on the forehead. And up in there is where my ears are going to end up sticking out. Don't draw the ears yet. I'll show you kind of a little thing that gets me goofy a lot, and we'll try to avoid that mistake. So out on this side, that eye on the side here, we basically see its lash because it's on the far side. Then we have that bottom of the triangle coming in. This eye over here, I'm not seeing it as front. I'm seeing it more kind of, it's this little eye on the side. And then I have that head diamond. Then we're then going to come down the snoot, and we're going to go out here to these nostrils. This big nostril here, I'm going to draw this big oval in here and give myself a little slit on this side. Having the box there helps me have my mouth flat across the front. Then a little bit of a chin. And now this area in here for me is often confusing. What's going on is we are coming from the ear, we're coming down, right, to this. There's a big muscle in here, your chewing muscle, your big masseter muscle for chewing. And so on my zebra buddy here, it's in here, but it's turned and foreshortened, which means I'm going to kind of come down and come down from where my ear is. My big masseter muscle is sitting in there, but it's that circle, but foreshortened. Now, the ears. So what was the thing I'm talking about with the ears? So it's really tempting to draw, all right, so I've got my little oval in here. Get this ear. And here's what it's tempting to do, is to draw this other ear out at the same angle, right? But no, look, this ear here is actually doing a different thing. It's not coming out at the angle that I would expect if I were drawing it straight on. What's going on is this. I have my two, let's see. No, no, it's weird when the computer screen is flipped. So that's this one. Okay, there we go. So, no. All right, let me try it this way. There we go. My brain's not letting me do it. All right, so if I have my two ears coming up like this, and I'm looking at it from the front, right? They are the same angle, but watch what happens when it turns. That blue pencil is getting more straight. So if I have these things are a V, and I've tilted them, and they're tilted forward, right? I mean, actually, no, I have to point towards the camera. So this is the V pointed forward. Notice what happens when I turn. That green pencil is now more straight. That by straight, I mean more vertical up and down. Look at how vertical that blue pencil is. Well, all I did is V tilted towards you. So V tilted towards you, V tilted towards you, which is what the ears are doing because it wants to listen to you. And then it turns its head to the side. The one that is closest to you is now straighter. Here, the green pencil is pointing towards the top of the screen. Isn't that crazy? All right, so if I know that geometry and then I'm looking at somebody who's listening to me, right, and looking around, then it helps my brain like, oh yeah, there's this crazy thing. I got to look at like I'm otherwise my brain is expecting the ears to be at the same angle and I draw them at the same angle. But I don't have to do that. Oh no, no, no. I can draw what I see because I can go like, okay, this one here, you're coming up more towards me, right? The height of it will end here, but you're what are you doing, little you crazy thing? You crazy thing. What's going on there? Right? And then my ears are pointing off in the same direction. Give this thing a mohawk. And we have a little zebra. Front of my mohawk, side of my mohawk. Wow. And we already did you. We already did you. Well, actually, we didn't do you. But actually, let's go on. Let's take a look underneath the hood and start to draw the rest of the critter. We've got some ideas about head, front, side, and three-quarter view. I want to encourage everybody play with that three-quarter view, right? If you lean in there, it'll open all these doors for what you see most of the time. Big deal there. But now let's take a look at the body. We're going to do two things. Number one, we're going to understand the structure and the anatomy and the physics of how the body works. And then what we're going to do is we're going to think sort of how can I chunk that visually in a way that allows me, like if I can have the circle and the box technique, put those together. We're going to circle box it on the body. So let's take a look at what that looks like. So we get under the hood, and what I've got is this is a wildebeest, right? And what you are seeing here is, no, you have in the we've got a head, so there's a circle and there is a box. We have a spine that comes down and over. We're going to attach onto that a front leg. So the front leg has a shoulder blade, a upper arm, that's our humerus. So this is its elbow. This, from the elbow, we're going to come down to a wrist. And then, so on the human hand, this is everything below this point is the hand. But on my little friend here, so I've got a shoulder, I have an elbow, I have a wrist. The rest of the leg is the hand part. But on these ungulates, on these hooved critters, the bones across your palm here, right? My what is these? My carpals, my metacarpals, are fused together into a long straight bone, and so they're lengthened and fused together, and then there are going to be little fingers sticking out from that. That's the little toesies. So this part so far looks like, okay, shoulder, elbow, wrist. But then what we're going to do is we're going to extend the palm of the hand and fuse that together. So I'm going to extend the palm of my hand. And then these are the toes down here, and you're walking on your toenails. So that's the wrist. And in the back, here's your hip bone. What I have is a thigh bone. This is your knee. This is your leg bone, your tibia, fibula, to your heel. And then the bones in your foot, right? These long bones right here on the top part of your foot, those all get fused together. So this backwards facing thing that kind of looks like a knee is actually the heel of the critter sticking out on the bottom there. So there's my heel, my high heel. This then is those bones in my foot. And then here are my toes, and I'm walking again on my toenails. So we're seeing the same basic joints, but the hand and the foot, so this whole part down here, that's what is equivalent to our foot. This whole part here, whoops, you're not wanting to draw anymore. Oh, there we go. This whole part here is equivalent to our hand. That's really pretty cool. So if I look at a lion here, notice that you're seeing the same thing, right? So the same body plan is on these critters, but there's one big difference with this dude. Well, there's lots of differences. The difference that I want you to notice is look at the hand and the foot. See how those bones are still separate and they're not as long. So if I just bounce back to my little friend here, as I look at the wildebeest, the this critter's belly is going to be, whoops, my buddy's belly is going to be right here. So what I see sticking down from the body here is basically its forearm, and then halfway down that space, I get its hand. And so this joint looks like there's a straight bone here. Halfway down that is my wrist. There's this bent backwards, looks like that's what people think is the backwards facing knee. And this is also about halfway down, maybe a little bit higher. Let's compare this with what is up with the lion. With the lion, I'm going to put its belly in here. So you don't see the elbow sticking down, and you don't see the knee sticking down. What you see is you're going to see a long bone coming down, and then this should give you pause, right? So here's its hand. On this, you're going to see a long bone coming down. The heel is still off the ground. Notice that this height here is a little bit lower, a little bit of a higher heel, but it's not halfway down this space, right? So we're going to have a foot that's bigger than the hand part.
Oh, Jack,
Yes.
sorry to interrupt you, but just wanted to give you the time check that we are an hour in. And if you were wanting to take a stretch break, possibly a wildebeest or lion dance, now would be a perfect time.
Okay. Let me finish this idea. And I'm going to come to the end of this little section, and then we're going to take a little bit of a stretch break. We're going to take a 5-minute stretch break. All right. So what I want folks to notice is that, so if I were to get just a simple model for the ungulate, for the little plant eater. So here's my little body for both of them. There's your neck and your spine. We're going to stick a head on here, and we're going to stick a head on here. On my little plant eater, we're going to give you a longer snoot. On my little lion, I'm going to give you a smaller block face. Right? These will be not at all well proportioned, but that's okay. Give them both a little rib cage. What I'm going to do is on this on my little friend here, it's going to have a shoulder blade. It's going to have an elbow. It's going to have its legs sticking down. There's going to be a joint in the middle here. and then you're going to be walking on your toes. So there's elbow, there's your wrist. On my hips here, it is going to be a knee, it is going to be a heel, and it is going to be foot. So these will be, they'll feel like they're kind of halfway down the critter, these little joints, this thing that looks backwards, this thing that looks straight, straight in the front, bent in the back. We're going to have the same thing here on my little predator. So the cats and the dogs will be set up this way. We're going to have a heel, an elbow. We're going to make this bone a little bit longer, and then we are walking on our toes here. So I'm going to have one big straight bone here that's longer. Let's give this one a little bit of hips. We're going to start off the same way, but from the knee, let's make this bone longer. And then we're going to have a little heel here. And we're walking on our toes. So there's my belly. So the feel here, on one case, it's going to feel like this. On this other one, it's going to feel like that. All right. Clear the artwork. Cue the critters. But this is, take a look at this. So here's the cheetah. And how is this different than the lion, which we were just taking a look at? Isn't this cool? If I am looking at, I think the next one, do we have a side by side? One moment. I've got the same basic thing, but the proportions of these different limbs and sections are really, really different. Actually, that means I need to go to, hold on, let's just kind of we're going to come back to that cheetah in just a second. So this is two different African mammals. On the left, we have an elephant. On the right, we have something called a dik-dik, a Kirk's dik-dik. And I have blown them up so that their spines are the same length in these pictures. Notice how the little dik-dik has a super bendy back leg. And we have got bendy legs and also thin twiggy legs. If I am going to be really heavy, I need big, thick limbs that stack on top of each other. The heavier you get, the less bendy your legs are, and also the thicker your legs are. So if we're to look at a dik-dik in its actual size, it would be doing this. And what's going on here is that as things get bigger, as they get, if you were to double the size of something, its size increases by the square of what you're doing. So if I double its size, its weight, because that's a volume, is going up by the cube. So when you're cubing things, you're getting heavier faster than it's getting taller and long. That means if you took that little dik-dik and you blew it up to the size of an elephant and it tried to jump or walk, it would snap its own legs under its own weight. So what this means is that when we're drawing things that are small, we can have much more bendy legs and also more twiggy legs. So with that in mind, which one of these is a bigger critter? We've got to, well, I won't tell you what they are. That's right. So we're seeing less bendy in the wildebeest over there. We're seeing much more bendy in my little friend, the dik-dik. So proportionately, this is probably what you're seeing out there if they're walking around together, although they hang out in different habitats. And they usually have skin. So
Jack,
Here are,
just a gentle reminder to please remember to take your stretch break.
oh, that's right. I am, let's actually just do that right now.
Yeah, 2-minute baboon stretch break.
A 2-minute baboon stretch break. All right, I'm going to turn off my camera and go run out for a second, and I will be back in 2, and I will see you in just a moment. Thank you for reminding me.
Our pleasure. Thank you, Jack. So everybody, this would be a great time to stand up if you would like to stretch, to gently roll your shoulders, to wiggle your fingers and put down the pen or pencil for a moment, to be kind to your body, and to drink some water, because hydration is happiness. And we're happy you're all here with us today.
I like that. Hydration is happiness. Cheers, everybody. It's green. Hydrated, happy. All right, so let's. This is a really good shoulder stretch. If you put your arm across you, and you take your other arm and you kind of catch your own arm and pull it towards you, and then you take this whole business and you pull it in. Another thing that really releases your tension back here is you are going to swing one arm underneath and try to catch your arms like that. This is kind of a weird one. Then you bring your arms forward and imagine that somebody has your wrist and your elbow and they're pulling straight up towards the wall. You'll feel a really good stretch behind your shoulders. This is one of my favorite stretches for your upper back. So you're just imagining that your forearm, your vertical forearm, is now being pulled towards the wall away from you.
All right, ready to rock and roll?
Ready to rock and roll? I'm hydrated and happy. Let's make a move on it. All right, so here we have two critters. First of all, which one is the smaller critter? Yep, that's a jackal. But here what would also like to do is I'm going to add a few little things to kind of about these little beasties. The horse has a fairly complex digestive tract. Um, and so it's has a big kind of bag of guts here. In order to, the jackal on the right is eating meat, and so it's really easy for it to get protein. It doesn't need as big a digestive system, so its body is in here. So when we look at the jackal from the side, what we notice is that here is its upper leg. I can see its elbow sticking out below its body. Here on its thigh, here's its thigh. I can see here's a lot of meat. This is kind of be a bigger muscle. This will then be a smaller muscle in here. But I can see its knee sticking out below its body. On the zebra or a horse, what I actually get is its upper arm is in here. Its thigh is all in here. And so what I see sticking out below the body is just going to be the forearm and the hand, or the not the thigh, but the sort of the calf and its foot sticking out. And so the difference in the size of the digestive tracts of these critters, if you have to be like really, really lean and run fast, this little sort of jackal form, you're going to see this joint, but you're not going to get it on things that have a bigger tummy. There is one critter that is a few critters that are kind of interesting exceptions to this. And so here is the lion and the cheetah. First of all, take a look at the sizes of their skulls. So I've sized these so that their spines are the same length. This isn't the size that you see them when they're out in the field. But the lion is going to do a short sprint, grab itself a zebra, and then feast on, get as much food as it kind of can in there as it can. And so it can get away with um, having a sort of bigger gut. So it doesn't have to quite go as fast. So when I think of these things structurally, it helps me be able to draw them. What the lion is going to be doing is the lion is going to have its big guts here, and I'm not going to see its elbow sticking out. I'm not going to see the knees sticking out here on the lion. But on the cheetah, I will. All right. So the cheetah, I'm going to be able to see that little joint. It's interesting, if you see a cheetah that is just fed, it will have much more of a sag. So you can get a little bit of Thompson's gazelle in here and have a bit of a stomach, but still you'll be able to see those knees and those heels. If I So here are these two relative in size. And then let's just kind of look at this. This is the dik-dik. It has this very strange little nose, really cute little thing. But look at those little super bendy, twiggy legs. Right? And notice how its elbow and its knee are right at its body line. So when we look at this, what we're kind of getting ourselves to be able to do now is to say, all right, you have a shoulder blade in here, you have an elbow in here. So here is your upper leg, here is your wrist, right? You have a hip bone in here. This is your knee, right? So that whole thing is your thigh. And then here's your heel and our foot, and then those are our toes, and we're walking on our toenails, our fingers, and we're walking our fingers, right? It's adorable, but we want to make sure that we can sort of understand, and here's that sort of body level at the elbow level. Let's bounce over to the elephant, and we're seeing very, very straight legs, right? So that's what you have to do, thick, big, straight legs. If you are standing, then can you see its elbow? A little bit of wrinkles right there at its elbow. That's the clue of where its elbow is. Here's the lion. And notice that its elbow is right about at body level. Big, big, stocky thing. Look at its head in proportion to the body and compare that with this. Doesn't that just look wrong? Right? It looks like, wait a minute, you made your head too small. Aw. But notice that we see the elbow and the knees below the level of the belly. See if you can find those joints on this golden jackal. Kind of looks like it has a lazy eye. Wow. Right. So being able to spot those joints, really, really helpful. Let's now take a look at drawing the profile of these animals. So now what we're going to do is we're going to kind of get this, we are going to think of how we're going to build these. Can I get a simple system for how I'm going to draw? I'm going to back up a little bit on this. So what I like to do is I like to first, I'm going to have a few lines and balls that I will use to start the drawing of what I see. Whoops, that's not what I wanted. Which brush? No, I want this. Nope. I want that. I want that. Nope, there we go. All right. So my first line is I want to look at the line on the back here, right? Do you see this negative shape up here? That is my target. I want to get this line here. And so what I'm doing is I see I have a line that comes down, a line that, let's back up, right? Then it has a back that comes up, and then it's going to come down, right? Get that line, draw that line on my piece of paper. And what I'm going to do is from this pipe cleaner, I'm going to hang the rest of the body down from it. So on my piece of paper, I'm going to say we have a line that comes down, and then a lion that comes up here, and a little hippie, right? So this line tells you a ton about the motion, the movement of the animal. Now, I'm going to hang from this my body. So when I'm thinking of the body, I think of the body in terms of three balls. I have one section that is going to be its upper chest and shoulder blade and leg. I'm going to have a second one that is going to be its sort of guts, and a third that is going to be its hips. So I'm going to just take these three balls and I'm going to put them together. There's my little animal body. To make this a little bit better, I'm going to put a little bit of an angle into the booty, right? And I'm also going to put an angle into the front of the chest here. So I'm giving myself a little bit of a slope here and a downward angle here. My legs are going to attach down here and on here, but that is kind of how I want to envision the body. And you'll see why kind of thinking of these three sections becomes very, very useful.
Jack,
Okay.
sorry
Yeah.
to interrupt you. I've got some unfortunate news, and that is that we only have 30 minutes left until the
Ah,
Q&A, and I know that that is sick and wrong, but
sick
just
and wrong.
you know.
Thank you. All right. So the head is going to attach to this. All right. This pipe cleaner, by the way, is not its spine. It's just sort of the line on the back of the body that I see. So I've got hips are a little bit bigger. My hips are a little bit bigger than my chest. There's a little angle at the back here, little angle here at the front towards the bottom. This one has its angle towards the top up here, angle towards the bottom. And as I'm looking at my critter, I'm going to try to block this in. So I'm thinking of three balls, right? I have kind of this, here's my one up here. Well, you can't really see that very well. Let's go for both chunk down, and wonder if there's a color that will show up better. Much better. All right. So there's my chest ball. Then here's my tummy gut, my guts here. And I'm going to hang that down from the belly, sometimes a little bit smaller towards the back. And then here is my hips. And I'm going to put a little ball in there with that little angle towards the back. So I like thinking of the the body here as these three little sections. The legs are going to attach in the front at this sort of back corner of the ball here. So I'm not going to stick them down here. There's a little bit of space here because what's happening behind the scenes is my shoulder blade is coming down here to my shoulder to my elbow there, right? So my elbow's in there, and that's where I'm going to bring a little bit down, right? And then I can have my little foot on there. In the back, this is where my knee is going to be. So I'm coming back from that. And then having a heel a little bit higher than my wrist. My neck, depending on the direction that it is turning, right? Here my neck is turning towards me. So the best way to kind of get your neck is just to place your head. I'm gonna put my head here as a little ball in here, and then my neck is going to have to attach to that. But my neck is going to attach to the front plane of this. And then this one there's some shag around this little lion head in 3/4 view, which we've already seen. So this way of thinking about the body, I find really, really useful. What I'd like to do is just take a look at a few critters here and see how this approach, whoops, not you, how this approach will apply on different critters. So I'm going to first look at what is that line on your back. Then my body is going to be that ball in the front with a little bit of an angle in it. I have my tummy ball that sometimes is a little bit higher in the back. And then my hip ball. My front leg comes down straight from this back corner. And here it's the I want to kind of think of this. If my body's this big, how far down are my legs going to go? My legs will probably go down about this far here. Okay. So I'm going to have my wrist to come down, and then I'm on my little toesies. Let's take a look at this distance here. How much space do I want to leave between these legs? So then from there, I'm going to come down. Notice there's not as much of a bend as we get with the dik-dik. What about my head and my neck? Well, my head is, I always make my necks too long. So I'm going to look at this distance here. My head maybe wants to start in there. All right, so I'm going to have my head. There's the center line of it. There's a box that's going to stick out from that. Right. But from the back of this head, that neck is going to swing down into that front plane. So this I find really useful for constructing my beasties. Oh, this ear is more vertical. This one is more at an angle. But wait, there's more. Let's try that with this. So let's take a look at that line of its back. So get whatever that line is doing. You often see a real sag in the spine of cheetahs. And when they run, their spine is incredibly flexible. And let's put up in here, let's put our little box.
Let's have our belly, that second ball, a little bit narrower towards the back. And then hips are a bit bigger than front there. There's that little angle in the back. Okay. Now the ground is going to be further down on this than it would, say, on a lion. And on this, let's see, I can see my elbow sticking down. And then actually I want this leg to go forward even more. Let's put that leg here. On these legs, think of this part here being thicker than this. So here on this back leg, we have what's going on with those legs? Let's just draw that leg that's bent. We've got a knee that's down here. I've got a heel. And I'm seeing some little cheetah foot there. I have a small head, a ridiculously small head. It's going to be hard for me to let myself draw a head that's that small. And then that neck is going to come into this front plane here. Let's try a different beastie. Then we'll look at a different angle. So I'm going to draw that line down its neck. And then onto the back, looking at that sort of negative, it looks like it kind of comes up again and down. All right, that line is going to be absolute gold for me. And then let's put our shoulders in here. So here is my little box in front, more of an angle in the front of it. I'm going to have my tummy. And here's my hips. I'm not going to make my neck too long, I hope. I'm going to have a head. My neck's going to curve into this. I think I made my neck too low. That doesn't usually happen to me. I usually make my neck too long. That's okay. And what are the legs doing? So let's see how far down do we want to go. Let's give it, we're pretty high off the ground. And sort of back end of this, we're going to have a thicker part of our leg to halfway down to the thinner part. On the back, we're going to come to a little corner here. So thicker to the heel.
Oh, Jack, could you raise up your
Yes.
ungulate? Perfect. Oh, wait, and also slightly to the side, maybe? Perfect. Thank you.
Oh, thank you. All right. So, thinking about the body in these three sections really helps me be able to draw it from the side. But let's take a look at some different angles. Not you guys, not you, not you, not you, not. No, we're not going to play with you. There we go. So remember how when we were drawing our critter from the front, with the front of the face, we had that circle with a line through it? That vertical line is also going to be really, really helpful for the front view. So what I'm going to be doing is, here's my head. What I've got is, if I've got my three balls, essentially I've stacked them all up so that I am not seeing the other ones that are behind it. And then what I'm going to try to do is try to figure out where in this, so I'm seeing that front ball, where in that is the head going to be? So I have here a ball of the body, and I've got my head ball blocking most of it, which makes it easier to draw, right? And then on these balls, they're actually, if you look at them from the side, they are bigger on the side, they're skinnier on the front. Imagine that you're trying to run between bushes and you have a really wide body. So having a little bit of a sort of narrower body than you get from the front is going to be very, very helpful for your survival. There's a little bit of space between our legs, and then I am going to be putting my feet down from that. So if I'm looking at something from the front view, kind of remembering that little axis of symmetry, I'm going to have mostly what's going on. My body's going to be blocked. But, so you see the same thing here. All right, so I've got a wildebeest pointing towards me. Let's go to this page here. And here's my sort of starter. I have a head that is in here, and it's got why the long face?
Womp womp.
Wah, wah. All right, then we're going to have little horns going on here, but my body is going to be mostly blocked. When you're drawing something right from the front, that is that big head that is blocking everything means you don't have to draw as much body. So on my buddy here, you'll notice that in the middle of the back, it looks super skinny, like there's almost a shark fin. What you're seeing there are processes on its spine that stick up that help support its head. So that front view is easy, but here's the big thing we're going for. We've got this is easy, and we played with this. The thing that I think is the angle, which is just like that 3/4 view of the head, this view of the body, where you're seeing it at a 3/4 view, where you see the front of this and the sides of all these three, that's an angle that you're going to be seeing so much. Although sometimes you'll see the butt view too, right? If the critter walks away from you. But notice that you're seeing all three balls, bump, 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 in these views. This is our final view that we want to tackle today. And that's the 3/4 view. So the approach to doing this is basically the same thing. What I like about this is that I don't have to have different ways of drawing these things from all these different angles. I'm going to keep thinking about this the same way. Is first I have this line at the back, and if it is starting off this wide and I tilt it, notice that the whole thing side to side appears shorter. So I'm not going to go out as far. This time I'm thinking of that front ball. Let's put the front ball in. Actually zoom down on that just a little bit. So I'm thinking of this front ball, my middle ball, and my back ball. On my front ball, remember, it has these two sides. And getting this point here, this corner here, I've got a side that comes down here to here. Getting that point there is going to be very, very useful. So what I have here is my front ball. That's where I really have to think of it has a plane here and a plane there. I want my lion to have a front section on this one here. These ones behind it, I don't have to worry about that too much. I'm going to make it a little bit narrower here towards the back. And this is going to really help me be able to carve and draw this lion in 3/4 view. I'll stick the head in a moment, but first let's just put on our legs. I have maybe a little, my elbow here is down. This lioness might need a snack. So I see she has an elbow here. So we're coming down, we're going to pick up that elbow. We're going to come forward with a narrower foreleg, and she's extending her hand and her toes out to take a little step. This back leg, it is coming down. Her knee is going to be in here. Let's take a look at this shape here, this negative shape. If I look at that, it makes that back leg a little bit easier to draw. She has a back leg that is stepping out. I see that heel again. And another leg that is coming down here on the ground. But now let's put a, here's a kind of a fun, subtle thing. Notice that she's lifting up her close leg, and you see this weird point on her back. Avea will know what this is because she has a kitty. That point on the back is the far side shoulder blade sticking up. So we're actually getting a little bit of that far side shoulder blade popping up there. And so as you watch a cat come towards you, you'll see those shoulder blades on either side, whichever's the weighted side goes up.
Oh, Jack. Not only are you making me want to watch my kitty more, also letting you know we've got 10 minutes until our Q&A time.
Perfect.
And please continue. I want to hear more
Yeah.
about the kitty.
Yeah, this makes that'll give me time to do just what I want to do. Now, I'm not going to give her as long a neck because that neck is foreshortened. So rather than first draw the neck and the head, what I'm going to do is just draw the head as an overlapping circle in here. All right, so her ball is going to go in here, and let's give it a crescent moon and put for her neck. See this? I'm going to we're going to take this little box here, and I'm going to redraw it up here. I like to think of a little center line down it. On that center line, I'm going to envision an oval in here on that surface. That's where the neck is going to attach into. So her neck is going to come into that. So as I'm kind of constructing this lioness up here in this front, this little zone here, mine is kind of looking like a transformer. It's kind of looking like a robot, right? As you're initially building this, that's useful. As you then kind of go to, say draw your final lines on top of it, you can kind of round those out a little bit, and you don't have to make it have all these sort of sharp edges and angles, but being able to see in your head where those planes are is going to be very, very useful for you in building this Linus. So as I'm constructing things, I'm putting these balls together and I'm giving them angles and figuring out centers of them and then sticking necks in. And then I can draw over that to sort of smooth those shapes together. But that's what's going on in the back of my head. And I find that's great for building these critters. Let's try this with this little zebra here, right? It's going to be the same thing, that line of the back. I love having sort of the same way of drawing things. So when I'm out there with the critter, I don't have to worry about coming up with like, well, how do I start? What do I do? I can just get out there. Now I'm drawing. I know what to do. I know where to start. So there's my 3 circles. Now, especially on this front one, I'm going to turn this front one into something a little bit more angular because I want to make sure that I'm clear that there is a front plane on it. And then that back leg is going to be attaching in here. All right, so especially on that front one. And let's think of where that neck is going to come in. Here's the center line on the front of the box. This is the side. All right, so the center line, so that my neck oval will be coming in somewhere in here. All right, so that my neck will attach down in there. And I've got a little bit of brisket, what's called the brisket of the critter right in there below where that neck comes in. My front leg is coming down in here. Front leg is going to be bigger on top. My belly comes down and it's going to tuck up a little bit in there. It's nice to sort of see these repeated patterns. Here's this little booty down angle on the top. And we're going to come down to a heel.
Oh, Jack,
Oops.
could your zebra friend up a little? Perfect.
I made my leg to, I want to come all the way down to here. And then my back leg, I'm seeing a little bit of that in there. My front leg on the other side, coming in back there. Now, I think I didn't give myself enough room in here. I forgot to check that negative shape, right? Or did I? Yeah, no, yeah, I should have put more room in there. But whenever I make a mistake like that, I just go like, oh golly, that will try to remember that the next time. Now, second. Um, I have a little toy here. And I'm going to use this toy to help us notice. Actually, I'm going to use this toy. Different toy. All right, let's take a look at the back legs here. Notice when I hold the toy at this angle that this leg feels really straight and this leg feels like it has a bend in it. So when I see them from the side, I can see that bend. This leg has a little bit of a bend in it. This leg here, you can see that leg has a bend in it. But when I look at it from this angle, this leg looks more bendy, this one looks really straight. You see that? So if there is, here I've got two legs with bends in them, but I look at it from an angle, all of a sudden, one looks straight, one looks bendy. Let's look at it from the other side. When I hold it this way, now this one is looking straight and this back one looks like it has the bend in it. What's going on with that is that when you're in this 3/4 view angle, because the legs are kind of splayed out a little bit, you will very often see one as coming down very straight and the other one as having more of a bend in it. And the same is true with kind of what happens down here where the rubber meets the road, right? This little hoof here, the little fingers, the phalanges going into the hoof, are coming in straight. Ah! And on the other one here, from this little finger joint, we're coming forward, more of an angle in there. So in the front leg, from this little joint, I'm just going to draw on some little balls where I'm seeing these joints. Right? This one is more straight to the hoof. And this one in the back yeah. So in this 3/4 view that I've got here, these back ones here, I'm seeing more of a bend. The ones that are on the side closer to me, I'm seeing straighter. If I am not aware that this is what feet will do, you don't have to memorize like, oh no, I'm going to forget which one bends. Just look at the critter, right? But this will really help you be able to draw. This is the tricky part of drawing things in 3/4 views. There's two tricky parts. One is what are the little footies going to do? The other is kind of getting yourself to have this chest plane up here and stick your neck into that. So you get this part here if you make your chest a little bit more boxy and then pay attention to what these do. Your critters will feel like they are standing there with a 3/4 view. This little one here is hiding its toesies. All right, so, but this one isn't. All right. So we're just going to, how many minutes do we have, Avea?
We are right at time right now.
All right.
If you wanted to do another example, I think we have time for that, but we do have some questions. So
Okay.
however you'd like to proceed, what would you like
All
to?
right, let's see. I'm going to choose my favorite final one. Yeah. You're good. You're good. All right. So this lovable. I'm guessing that there may be a little zebra to be somewhere inside of that. Let's just, because this is a much more extreme angle view, let's just play with this and the system. Because on these ones, we're seeing more of the side. But on this zebra here, like what would you do here? So I am going to give myself a new page but I'm going to show you that we just do exactly the same thing. We're going to come down that neck and then over the butt. Now, I'm going to get my 3 circles, but this time they're all bump, bump, bump. All right, so I'm seeing most of this face here in front, but I'm seeing a little bit of these other parts behind. And because she's pregnant, that middle one has got some extra something, something. So I'm going to think of, I have my ball in the front. I'm going to have my big ball in the middle. And then I have there's my little ball mostly hidden behind there. For my ball in the front, let's give ourselves a center line here. Here's my mid zebra. So for my ball in the front, it has a plane that is sticking down here, and then I'm seeing that kind of tuck in. Actually, here it's going to be my mid zebra there. There's mid zebra. All right. So behind that, I have a little bit of zebra sticking out. I have lots of zebra sticking out here. And a little bit there. Let's put some front legs on either side of my more angular front box. And so I'm going to give myself a little bit of space between. We're going to come out from this side. And we're going to come back here. From that, we're going to come straight down. This is almost a front-on view. My little zebra friend has a far side, and then there is this closer side. I see, let's put our neck in. So the neck is going to attach in here. It really helps me to visualize kind of a line going in. The back of my neck. Let's put a box. Let's give this a little bit of a moon. Right? And then put a box in. Where the eyes are going to be high in this. There's going to be a little bit of a widening where the eye goes. And then I'll see the eye on one side. My ears, gosh, the one that is towards me is up at an angle. The other one is at not as steep an angle. And what about the neck? So the neck is going to come from in here down to here, right? And what is the neck going to do on the top?
Hey, Jack, we just have a few more minutes and we do have some questions, so I wanted to see if we could ask
Absolutely.
some of those now.
Let's do that now.
All right, so folks are enjoying the 3-box method. So, and your Play-Doh, I can see little Jack coming out to play, which is really fun. Yeah.
Yep.
So
it's craft time here.
it's craft time. That's right. So So Jan was wondering if you actually draw these balls and boxes in the field, or if you've done this so long that you can just see them. And another person, Aaron, wondered if do you have a good way to quickly measure the proportions and override the brain's impulse to make the things you focus on bigger, to try to get the box and balls the right relative size.
Oh,
So if maybe you could talk about those things.
Yeah, so you know, as you've seen as I've been doing this, you know, I have been, you know, missing checking my negative shapes and things. So there are ways you can do it. Like, you know, checking those negative shapes is a great way to get your proportions to be right. When I don't do that, here's what happens. I get really interested in these front legs and really interested in these back legs. And this little tummy part was less interesting to my brain because um, it was like this had all this leggy stuff and this had all this leggy stuff. And so my brain said, this other part here, this middle part, it's not as interesting to me. And so my brain made it smaller. The parts that are really interesting, we tend to make too big. So a great way of helping yourself with that is to check those negative spaces. Like if I get this front leg in, let's double check that negative space to make sure I've got enough room. I should have made this body just a little bit longer, this section here a little bit longer, and then I could have had exactly the same shape. Or doing this with Photoshop, you could be like, cut this and just move it over here. But on this piece of paper, yeah, I have to chalk it up for next time. I'm going to try to notice that. Um, so things that are cool, we tend to focus on and make too big. And parts where we're less interested in it, we tend to kind of miss those details. There's a second part to that question, and I forget what it was.
No, I think you pretty much covered it. The questions were, do you still draw
Oh,
these?
yeah, that's right. So especially on things like, let me grab a real sketchbook. Um, so especially on things that where you've got these front angles. Um, I find my brain really gets scrambled. So here, if you look in the purple pencil in the background, so I'm doing it really lightly and then coming over with a ballpoint pen. I'm drawing my three circles on the front, on the chest, body, and hips of my little hyena friend here. Um, let's see if I can. Here, I'm kind of, this is just a side view, but I'm thinking 1, 2, 3. Where are some more?
Can you make the full screen your sketchbook so we can see?
Oh, that's a good idea. I want to just bounce to here.
Thank you so much. That's great.
And let's zoom out.
Perfect. Thank you so much.
Where we want some it's a lot of birds. It's a lot of birds. It's a whole bunch of, oh, there we go. So here with a brown pencil, oh, hard to see with this, but with brown pencil, I'm actually giving myself those little lines on that one.
Okay, so it's great to see. I think it's a relief maybe for people to see that you also are using these three balls and not just, picking up a pencil and drawing, a perfect drawing. And a couple
and on
people
things
have
like
asked.
this dude here, it's just been obliterated by the paint. So he's like,
Mhm.
oh, you're not doing it here. But if you, but it actually is in there, but just hard to pick up on the screen.
Wanted to get to a couple more questions before we have to stop because we're actually 1 minute over time. Could you just do a quick review of attaching the face box? A few folks are having a hard time making the box the right size and placing it correctly on the head.
All right.
That kind of ball of the head and the mouth box, or I'm not sure what you're calling it, the face box.
Yeah. Oh, here's something kind of fun. I found a place where I have done a 3/4 view of the head of a lion, but I didn't use this approach. and you'll notice that there's something just off with this guy. All right. All right. So here I'm not lining it up. My two eyes are not lined up. It feels like there's no kind of clear articulation with the sort of muzzly part. I kind of like what the mouth is doing, right? So if we sort of stopped here, like that's feeling okay for me. But like there's something there's something off with this guy. So, I that would have helped me with with that little drawing. So let's attach this box in the 3/4 view. I'm guessing you're thinking 3/4 view. So draw yourself a circle, and from one point on the top of the circle to another point on the bottom, let's give ourselves a little crescent moon shape. So that is going to be the front of my little ball, the front of my critter's face. Now, I'm going to, across that line, sort of imagine that line going at sort of 90 degrees to that curving line. I'm going to put another line across that. That's where my ball is coming in, and that's probably somewhere along this is where my eyes are going to be. So further apart on the herbivore, closer together on the lion, even closer together on the monkey. And then I'm going to think of drawing out from that a box. Parallel with this, I'm going to draw a line there. Now let's drop down. Parallel line there. And this I'm going to bring back into the head here. It doesn't have to be, if I do it like this, it'll be a really kind of narrow box. So I'm going to make this sort of a box that is actually widening as it gets closer here. Imagine, as I sort of bring this in, and I'm going to stop it somewhere on the head here. Imagine now a line from the top here to the bottom, and I'm going to draw a little arc, kind of other little arcs in here. I'm going to sort of make a little curved line, sort of imagining how this would intersect this ball. And then on this, is this working so far?
Yes, we do need to stop though, so perhaps you could wrap this up and then pop back on the main screen so we
Okay.
can say goodbye.
All right, so I'm going to have my center line there. One more thing, one more waterfall. Asymmetrical nose. Eye off here. Not much of an eye over here. Little cheek, big cheek. And
Thank you so much, Jack. That was a really, really fun class.
I hope that was useful. So my big take home from this is that this one idea of first just get that line. If it's moving all over the place, get that line on its back. And on all these drawings, everything is going to hang from that line. These three sections, the front being more angular. If you're looking at a back view, that butt is going to be really angular, and you really have to kind of nail the angles on that. But then the other two that are mostly obscured balls, you don't have to worry as much about, but kind of place them in there, and it will give your body dimension.
That's right.
And so when the critter pops up in front of me, I don't have to think, how do I even start? You can do this. Thank you for being here. I hope that this was useful. I want you to encourage you to go out, draw your cat, draw your dog, draw the hippopotamus in your yard. Wait, what? Yes, go outside and see if there's a hippopotamus. And you can visit zoos. You can also go to birdpixel.com and go to the mammals, the animals link there, and you'll find lots of smorgasbord of photographs that you can draw from. And you can absolutely do this. The more you do, the better and better it gets. Practice with some photographs that aren't moving, then move on to animals that are not moving that much. And then eventually there'll be something kind of moving more quickly, and you can follow along with it because you've kind of given yourself a progression of understanding the structure and understanding the geometric shapes that are moving together. Thank you so much for your support of the Wild Wonder Foundation and the folks at Amani. We really appreciate you being here.
Absolutely. Thank you so much, Jack. Thank you for donating your time to teach this class today. Y'all can learn more about Jack at johnmuirlaws.com. And as we said, all funds raised from this class will support the Amani Foundation and all of their great programs for children in Tanzania. And we will be following up with a recording, an email with a recording for everyone who signed up for this class. And Jack, can we get those skeleton images you had that we could share out too?
Yeah, actually, if you go to johnmuirlaws.com,
Oh, okay.
I've got a worksheet archive, and
Great.
you can download all of those from there. A bunch of them will come out on the same pages. All of
Awesome.
those are there on my worksheet archive.
Okay, we'll find those and share those out with people when we send them the email with the recording. And if you'd like to share your notes or images from class, please do so at Wild Wonder Foundation and hashtag Wild Wonder Foundation. We'd love to see what you did during class today. And again, if you enjoyed today's class and you'd like to make a donation or an additional donation toward Amani, please do so at wildwonder.org/donate. And we will make sure to send those on to Amani. Thank you again so much, Jack. And thanks again to Avea for your help backstage. We hope you all have a wonderful rest of your day. Bye-bye, everybody. Thanks for being here.